What's the latest on your attempts to free the two Reuters journalists?
Well, as you know, they've been unjustly convicted. They've been sentenced to 7 years in prison. And we are now supporting the family's request for a pardon. Aung San Suu Kyi and the president of Myanmar have the power to pardon these journalists today. And we're very much hoping that that will happen so that they can leave prison and be reunited with their families.
What kind of evidence does the government have, and what are you doing to challenge it?
They have no evidence. I mean, if you actually read the judgment, you'll see what a farce the whole trial was. Essentially, the police planted documents on the journalists. They invited them to a cafe, and they said, "Here, take these documents and read them when you get home." As they walked out of the cafe, they were arrested by other officers lying in wait and then charged with being spies and possessing information that implicated national security. It's a joke. The information wasn't even secret, and they had no intention to harm the state. They were not spies. They are acting as journalists. And what this case is really about is the fact that they were brilliant investigative reporters who went to Rakhine State, where the UN says the Myanmar military is committing the gravest crimes under international law, and they exposed evidence of a massacre, including a photograph of 10 men kneeling in front of a shallow grave, the men kneeling, and then the photos of the bodies in the grave, hacked to death, shot to death. And when officials found out that this story was going to come out, they did everything they could to silence it.
What do you think of Aung San Suu Kyi now? What should the world think?
You know, I think the world should judge her based on what she says she stands for. She won the Nobel Peace Prize, as you know, saying, "I was a former political prisoner, and I want the world to care about political prisoners everywhere and to help them get out." And so our message to her now is, well, these were your own principles. You've actually slept in the prison where these journalists now sleep. You have the power to get them out and set your country back on course to becoming a real democracy and to respecting the rule of law.
Interesting, the prison the Reuters reporters are in, related to her imprisonment?
Yeah, it's actually called insane prison. She was imprisoned there as a political prisoner, and when she came into office as the de facto leader of the country in 2016, she said on her first day, "It's my priority to release prisoners of conscience," and that's what we think should happen. It's important for the country as a whole. At the moment, truth is being silenced and hate speech is being amplified, and that's got to change if things are going to get better in the country.